Hello everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for our August month in review. So, August is already done. Can you believe it? Can you believe that we are in August of 2020, or at the end of it, I should say? I am just blown away, and it feels like so much has happened, and yet I feel like I've got so much more to do. So yeah, let's just get started. August was, just like every month in my life, has been very busy, and just ramping up even more. I traveled in August. I went down to Southern California. I also went down to Southern California at the end of July, so then I went again last week, and needless to say, it was great to get out and about and leave my house for business travel, but it's nerve-wracking to travel or travel during COVID-19 pandemic, because you're always just like, okay, I gotta be extra careful. I've got to do lots of frequent hand washing, to wear my mask all the time. For like when I went down at the end of July, I wore gloves. I wasn't so hyper vigilant then, and so far so good. I've been back a few days and feeling a-okay. But while I was out there, I was just getting more clear and less fearful about my decision to take a break from my government job so I can focus solely on my tarot business and my creative endeavors. So I'm excited about that. That was a big thing for me spiritually and professionally, really, is coming to the conclusion that for my own peace of mind, my own sanity, my own business growth, and most importantly, to bring more harmony and balance to my family life, and particularly to be there for my daughter's education, I'm very excited about that adventure. It's going to take a few months to get there, though. I'm not going to be able to do this suddenly. I'm going to have to do this in a few steps, but it is definitely happening. I have made a decision in my mind. It is happening. So I do have a vlog about that I've already started kind of posting videos here and then on my website. Most of the vlogs will be going on my website, but occasionally I'll post them here as well. I just don't want to inundate you guys with my journey as I navigate through all these emotions when you are moving or transitioning or making one big change in your life. And so it's been exciting, but it's been nerve-wracking. It's been fear-inducing, but then exhilarating, and I can see not freedom, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? So I'm feeling good about that. So that was a big favorite for me for August, was finally making the decision of what I'm going to do. And now it's almost like magic. Everything's aligning. It's just falling into place for that goal to manifest for myself. So I'm super excited about that. Now, let's talk about my favorite things, right? Because that's why we're here. YouTube, I've been watching all kinds of YouTube, to be perfectly honest. When I was in the hotel last week, I was watching, I'll admit it, I was binge watching House Hunters and House Hunters International. I know, they say, oh, it's fake, blah, 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 it's made for TV. I don't care. I love it. It inspires me when I hear people, especially House Hunters International, when people are making those big leap kind of life changes. I get super inspired by their stories and where they are in the world. And so I was binge watching those. I think, is it Witch of Wonderlust? I'm only mentioning I'm not going to even really have any YouTube focuses, but I mentioned her because she interviewed Conjured Cardia, and I just recently found Witch of Wonderlust. I'm not a witch, but I'm always, fascinated by what they have to say and, inspired by their practice and their, their spell work. So anyways, she was interviewing Conjured Cardia, and then I just started watching her channel, and I was like going off that way all while I was out of town. So last week I had to fly down to LAX, fly down to LAX, and then we drove from Los Angeles to Ventura County. And so in the hotel rooms last week, it had YouTube, and I just logged in, with my little user ID, and then I just have at it watching back-to-back, videos when I'm not working. So that was great. I went to the beach, more about that in a moment, and it was great. It was like I learned a lot while I was there. It was a great business trip because I got a lot accomplished. I love when I feel like I'm doing and getting things done. So that was good. And I got to leave Northern California, where it was super smoky from all the fires that we are having, and then go to Southern California, and they had some fires, but their fires had been much more contained, and their beachy breeze like blew the smoke away. So it was just literally a breath of fresh air. And it made me a little jealous of folks who live in Southern California, my peeps who live out there, because you guys by far have the best weather on the planet. I'm just saying. Like, my husband, while I was in Ventura, he texts me. He says something like, "I'm glad you're enjoying your time. And, it's like 100 degrees and it's ashy out here. It's ashy and 100 degrees." And I was like, yeah, it's beautiful. I want to say it's like, I think it was a high 80s, low 90s at one point. And it's by the coast, so it's not even that hot at all. It was just amazing, I have to say. So that was definitely a favorite. And that does bring me to my random goodie. So my random goodie is the beach. I have been wanting to get back to the beach all summer long, but because of COVID-19, I just was kind of not like trying to deal with whatever I had to deal with to travel for pleasure. So I traveling for business is one thing, I have to do that, but traveling for pleasure, no. And I've been kind of dealing with a mild depression now, that I'm finally moving out of, thankfully, yay. And I have meditation to thank for that. That's not the only thing that's to thank for, but that's just one piece of it that helped me with my depression. But the beach is always somewhere I would go when I was growing up, when I was a kid living in the Bay Area, where you could easily get to a beach if you wanted to. I can't easily get there now, so it takes, if there's no traffic, it takes a few hours to get there, but you get there, and we usually just spend the day, or we spend the night and hang out for the next day and then come home. But it's so good for my soul. It's good for everybody's soul, right? You put your feet in the sand, and I collect beautiful rocks or shells that are from a particular beach, and just really just soul nurturing. So I got to be at a warm beach, and it was divine. So that is one of my random goodies, and I'll actually have a clip at the end of this video. I did a clip of the same beach footage on a vlog that I just recently recorded, but I'm also going to put it here because I love the beach so much, and I want it to be a reminder to myself of how important the beach was and is to me. So I will be making more of a point to get myself and my kids and my husband out to, and my parents, because they love going to the beach too. They're the ones that got me going. We all making our way to the ocean as frequently as we can, like we used to. All right, so I kind of touched upon this. I have been meditating for like the last couple of months. I've been getting back into a practice, and it's been so good for me, so good for me. I can't even tell you guys, like, I don't really remember my dreams. I know I have them because sometimes I'll wake up with the you know how you feel emotions that have lingered from your dream? And that's what happens for me. I have emotions that have lingered, but I cannot remember because my mind is going a million miles per minute. If I'm not thinking about my stage job, I'm thinking about the business or YouTube or social media or my kids or my husband. It's just so much. So I need meditation. And so I start off my day with meditation. I use what's called an app called Insight Timer. And I have preset time. So if I know I can only fit in a quickie, it'll be a 7-minute one or a 10-minute one. I have like longer ones. Usually I do like the 13-minute one. It's just a wonderful little tool, this little app. It's free, although there's some paid content that I think I'm going to partake in. But yeah, it's a phone app. And it tracks the number of consecutive days in a week that you've meditated. So that's also like, it gives me this instant gratification, if you will. Not instant, yeah, I guess it's instant, because once I'm done with the recording or the meditation, it then goes to the screen where it shows how many days I've meditated consecutively. So it's like a little competition with myself. And I can't remember my dreams, but I can definitely remember what goes on with my meditations for the most part. I go journeying. Like, I am able to journey and actually just go to some amazing places when I meditate. And I wanted to kind of, treat myself or reward myself for like the last 2 months consistently meditating and working through my depression with it, my anxiety. My anxiety always ends up leading to depression if I don't get a handle on things. So that's what happened, and I know that about myself. So now I'm kind of pulling my life back together and pulling myself back together. I'm feeling more like myself. You know, it's just like the basics of self-care, honestly, when you're managing depression. It is, you know, really trying to maintain some perspective, and it's difficult. So sometimes you need to give your body the physical nourishment it needs to start moving. You know, brushing your teeth, doing your hair, exercising for 10 minutes at first, you know, doing whatever you can, meditating, journaling, talking to someone, talking to a therapist, talking to a spiritual guide if that's what you're more comfortable with, but definitely talking, making sure that you're not going off to another deeper depression, to, you know, to somewhere even darker. So fortunately for me, it wasn't that, and I knew that this was something that was going to need to pass. It also is tied to the big transition I'm going to. I've got a lot of emotions that I'm working through as I make this transition in my life. So meditation helps. So to reward myself, I got this, my husband actually got it for me. He saw it in my Amazon shopping cart. It says, quiet time, take a minute to meditate, my meditation journal. It was only a few bucks on Amazon. Here, I'll show you. And you don't need a meditation journal. You could literally take a notepad that you already have and totally use that. But I wanted to reward myself for the consistency, and also it was something cool to kind of capture the many cool things that bubble up during my meditations. A lot of stuff bubbles up, and I want to capture it. So here, I don't know if you can even see it. You have a whole section right here to journal about, on this side, this lines, to journal your reflection, discoveries, or insights during the meditation. You can date it, you can put the time, the location, the duration, the method, the mantra, and what meditation position. You can check the box here. It's kind of flimsy, this little journal, which sucks. Oh, it has meditation focus, so a little section for that. Reason for meditating, like that. Mood wheel, so you can circle that, which is interesting. It's good to track your moods. Quality, intensity of your, it's like a scale of your meditation, of your focus and breathing and your visions and emotions. I do always do that. There's a little section for I am grateful for, so you put what you're grateful for, and you just do this every time you meditate. What I don't like about this book is that it is, who's it produced by? The pages kind of fall out of this little journal. There's a special bonus. I mean, you get what you pay for, and like I said, you don't need this per se. You could literally use a notepad. But what I'm going to do with the pages that fell out is I'm just going to make copies so they're on one page, and then put it like in a binder of sorts, I think, and have it that way. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, that would be the one thing I'm like, But I like keeping these all in one place here. So yeah, that is The Quiet Time. Take a minute to meditate. And it has different like designs or different books it's made from. I'm trying to see if I have the, who creates this. Every Day. We Think You'll Enjoy Everyday Awakeness. The book. No. I was hoping it would have who actually makes this, but it doesn't, so oh well. Anyways, I'll try to make sure I put the link where I purchased this on Amazon, because like I said, whoever creates it, they have other like covers and other types of journals. The only constructive feedback I would give to them is that the pages kind of fall out, and I think what would be better is if it was perforated, where you could just kind of tear it out if you choose, or not keep them in there. That's what I would recommend. Or if you're going to do journals, have it spiral. Another recommendation. That's me. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah. Let's see what else. The stone. So I went to the hospital, nothing serious, I was just going for lab work, but I had to go to this particular place because it was open on Sunday. And then afterwards, I went to the metaphysical shop that's right near there. They sell decks. I was strong. I went in there. I looked around. I was like, I'm not going to get anything. I was like, I really don't need to be getting a crystal. What I want is an adornment for my ancestral altar. And my ancestors have expressed that they wanted a cross. And I was like, okay. So I was there at the metaphysical shop, and I came across this white onyx cross, and I like that it's kind of got like it's an imperfect cross, if you will, and I like that. It's beautiful. And I didn't know, to be honest with you, I didn't know much about white onyx. So I went and consulted one of my crystal Bible volumes to learn a little bit more and to see why I was called to get this, because once I saw it, I immediately had to have it, and it was the only thing I purchased at the store, and I was quite proud of myself about that. So white onyx, because what this book does is it says, what color does onyx come in? It comes in black, gray, white, blue, brown, yellow, or red. The appearance is banded, marble-like, often polished, all sizes. Rarity, it's readily available in source is Italy, Mexico, United States, Russia, Brazil, or South Africa. Now, this is the part that tripped me out, that I was like, whoa. So I'm reading this book. This is from Judy Hall, A Definitive Guide to Crystals. And this features over 200 crystals. I have volumes 1, 2, and 3, plus a crystal encyclopedia, plus her crystal wisdom, healing, I think wisdom healing. Oracle. That I have a lot of her books because I'm a big fan of Judy Hall. She's quite the authority, in my opinion, on stones and their mystical and physical and healing properties. Okay, I just lost my page for Onyx. Okay, so I'm going to read this, and this is why it tripped me out, because remember, this is from my ancestral altar. Attributes. Onyx is strength-giving. It provides support in difficult or confusing circumstances and during times of enormous mental or physical stress. Centering your energy and aligning it with a higher power, accessing higher guidance, is facilitated by Onyx, as is connection with the whole. It can take you forward to view the future, and with its capacity to impart personal strength, facilitates being master of one's destiny. This stone promotes vigor, steadfastness, and stamina. It aids learning lessons, imparting self-confidence, and helping you to be at ease in your surroundings. Onyx is a secretive stone that assists in keeping your own counsel. However, onyx is said to hold the memories of things that have happened to the wearer. It can be used for psychometry, telling the story to those who are sensitive to its vibrations. This property of holding physical memories makes onyx useful in past life work for healing old injuries and physical trauma that are affecting the present life. Holding a piece of onyx takes your attention to the site of the previous injury, which can then be released through body work, reframing, or crystal therapy. Onyx can also be used to heal old grief and sorrows. Psychologically, onyx recognizes and integrates dualities within the self. It anchors the flighty into a more stable way of life and generally imparts self-control. Onyx is a mental tonic that alleviates overwhelming fears and worries. Onyx conveys the invaluable gift of wise decisions. Physically, onyx assists in absorbing from the universe the energies that are required for healing or other purposes. It balances the yin and yang energies within the body. For healing, onyx is beneficial for teeth, bones, bone marrow, blood disorders, and the feet. More on that in a moment. Oh my gosh. Position. Wear on left side of body. Place or hold as appropriate. Traditionally, onyx worn around the neck was said to cool lust and support chastity. So I read you the whole section about onyx. The whole thing tripped me out from start to finish from this. Like sometimes I know like when because I'm more sensitive to crystal healing than others, and I'm an empath, and I'm a person who, when I'm doing readings, I'm picking up on energies and energy vibrations. That's what my gift is and where that's at. So sometimes I'll be called to get a crystal and have it come into my collection and not even really understand why. And then I read this, or I read something up on the internet if I can't find it in my... Usually I can find the crystals in her volumes 1, 2, 3, and she has one other book I have, and the encyclopedia. I usually can find it. All of it. From all of the attributes, specifically like the past life healing work that I've been doing. I have been doing some ancestral healing with my slave master ancestors, and that's been interesting. So that's all I'll say about that. You know, I'm not going to go much further into that, but yeah, it's been intense. It's been an intense time over here. But also healing is beneficial for teeth, bones, bone marrow, blood disorders, and the feet. I have they can't quite figure out what happened, but I had a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot to the lung. So I'm always cognizant of, you know, making sure I'm doing things to get that blood flowing and moving, right? But also I have been not getting enough water. I have been dehydrated and not getting, I think, enough potassium. And so I was starting to have a lot of cramping in my feet, particularly. Not in my legs really, like they normally would be. No, it was my feet. And so I was just like working with my ancestors, working with the meditation. It was revealed to me of what I needed. I needed more water. I needed electrolytes. I needed more potassium. And like in a couple of days, the cramping was like nonstop. It didn't matter how much water I drank. It was like, oh, you need more than that, girlfriend. So I'm not a doctor, so don't come to me, saying, oh, what about this? What about that? No, I just know my body. I'm into crystals, so that's the reason why I talk about crystals, but I'm not a doctor, so, or someone who is like, you should do this, you should do that. There's a lot of resources on the internet. Be careful, always consult your doctors first. I'm lucky. I live in California, so the medical providers out here are pretty used to us folk who like to try some unconventional things in our healing practices. So, do that. But definitely check out crystals, because you never know if you might be a person that is one who can gain some healing from them. Okay, so that's that. Now we'll go to books. This is going to be, I'm always like, oh, it's not going to be that long. I'm a meanderer. So books, I'll keep it brief. I was in the checkout at the grocery store, my favorite grocery store, and I saw the New York Times Self-Care, Follow Your Passions, Build Healthy Habits, and Embrace Optimism magazine. That was a special, what do they call it? It's a special edition magazine that they create and put out. And it's in the time period of COVID-19. I was feeling a certain way earlier this month when I saw it, and I was like, I really need something to feel connected to fellow man and know we're in solidarity and how we're feeling about all of this. And I just love this. I mean, I'm not going to go into all the different articles. It still should be on shelves if you are in America. I don't know how accessible the New York Times specials are in other parts of the world, but it's really, I'm a sucker for special edition magazines. I love the whole editorial thing here. So it just makes me happy and I don't know, just happy. Here's Lizzo, and this is the last closing page of this book. It says Lyric to Self. She has a song and I love it, and I blasted it last year all the time. It says, I'm my own soulmate. I know how to love me. I know that I'm always going to hold me down. And that's by Lizzo, and that's her song Soulmate. And I just love that so much. Let me just kind of read some of the titles. So the New York Times says, being good to yourself is a simple concept that may improve your daily life and help you to be good to others. They have an intro. They have articles about embracing yourself. They talk about the many facets of self-care, physical, mental, social, and spiritual, all originate from the same place, the belief that you don't need fixing. They have different articles about folks who quit things like I quit Yale, I quit the priesthood, I quit a famous rock band. What I learned from learning to swim. Another article called Find Time to Be Alone with Yourself. One article called When Did Self-Help Become Self-Care? Another section of Get Inside Your Head. They have podcast recommendation for the spiritual searcher. Books that bring comfort. Just reading random stuff. How to be optimistic. Turn social media into a positive influence. How to be good. Learn to argue productively. Tips on boosting focus. Getting practical. Self-care is not just bath bombs and scented candles. It's eating well and exercising. It's pursuing hobbies. Carving out me time and making connections. And that is the truth. Why you should follow your passions is one article. How to build healthy habits is another. The Healthy Habits Challenge. Cooking dinner can make a difference, which I really like that article. How to preserve family memories. Picking up steam. Cheap, and then they put ish. Self-care. The healing power of gardens. And so I just treated myself to this. It's not, not everyone likes magazines or having them around their house. I always have. I always will. And so I will always get like the special editions. So that's that. The other book I want to talk about is on my Nook. And it is called The Mental Equivalent, The Secret of Demonstration by Emmett. And the section here on the cover, it says, the key to life is to build in the mental equivalents of what you want and to expunge those that you don't. This is Law of Attraction Manifestation 2.0. Like, even though this was written by someone who was alive back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So, and with that, I have to say, you have to, there's like one little reference about a colored person, but it wasn't bad or anything. It's just to understand that, this was written by someone who lived during that particular time. But I am in love with this little book, if you can even call it a book. I think the actual physical book is only 44 pages, but this on my Nook was like 26 pages. So I read it in like it was nothing, but I inhaled it. It's the concept of mental equivalence. Let me see if I can succinctly spell this out. So for everything that we desire or everything that has manifested for us, there is a mental equivalent to it. Any condition in our life, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, whatever, whether it's a job you love or a job you hate, there is a mental equivalent to its manifestation. So it's not just about affirming what it is that you want. It's really about, because you know how sometimes you'll say, oh, I don't want this job anymore, it's stressing me out. And you keep focusing on what you don't want about the job. So you've built up a mental equivalent about what you don't want, whereas opposed to building up a mental equivalent to what it is you do want. I want to feel successful in my job. I want to be my own boss. I want to make my own hours. I want to make a lot of money and be able to pay my bills and have X number of dollars. This is not I want, like I feel it, I have it, it's here. And you start to build a mental equivalent of what it is you do want. Or the universe starts to align to that, or like things start to align to that mental equivalent. So the reason why we get more of that, of what we do not want, is because we've created a mental equivalent to showing up more of that. It's the language we speak to ourselves. It's our beliefs. It's all of that. And so this little book, oh my gosh, I read it twice, and I'm probably going to read it again. I highlighted different sections of it. It's really amazing. My homeschool studying, if you will, is, Ernest Holmes, The New Thought Movement, Religious Science of Mind. That is very much near and dear to my heart, my spiritual practice, if you will, my spiritual belief system. And it is like the fundamentals to law, like it's basically law of attraction, except you got some specific tools that you can use to manifest what you want. And it really is about affirmative prayer, or what we call in Religious Science of Mind, which is now Center for Spiritual Living. But we call it, doing a spiritual mind treatment and demonstration. And so I'm not going to go into that now, but it got me cooking and thinking about how I can employ and use tarot with the concept of mental equivalence. So I'm probably going to make a spread, and I'm probably going to go more into that in the future. I just wrote it on my whiteboard as a concept to explore later. It'll be a while because I'm super busy right now. But yeah, love that book. And I was like, why is this concept so familiar to me? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because, again, I am a member and I call myself a metaphysician, or a believer of, the science of mind by Ernest Holmes. I have this ginormous book. I actually have a few of these different Bible-sized books of his, and he has a chapter on mental equivalence, and that's why I was like, I know this concept. And yeah, the prayer of faith, a definite plan, how to demonstrate a home. And like Ernest Holmes in this book goes into, okay, you want to, demonstrate, manifest a home, doing the work. So there you go. That's the books I've been on. I've been getting back into reading again, so that's good too. Finally, I think we're done with books. We can get to the decks, right? So, oh my goodness, I always keep track. You guys can't even see this, I'm sure. It's in my planner. You see these long lists? That long list and that kind of pinkish purplish text is the decks that I use and touch and work with, either for client readings or free readings for myself. And it's a lot. I have listed here 39. I was busy. I was touching a few. There's some tried and true that I use consistently now. That, like I said, I want to show more of my decks to let you know I do actually touch and use more than the top 5. So let's stay in my order here. Let's go with the Oracle. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Soul Trees Oracle cards, and this one is by Allison Williams Yee. This particular copy, at least on the box, I'm pretty sure I got this in 2016 as well. This one is showing it's published. I think she has a newer edition that's wider, but you know me, if anyone knows my channel, you know that I'm all about the tarot-sized oracle decks. This is a great, here's the backs. This is a pretty chunky deck. This is the deck that I used for clarity in some of my client readings or my own personal readings. Healing in their trees. But I have this connection to trees. Some people have more of a connection to animals, or I can't think of, maybe they say fairies or such. My connection definitely is to trees. This is abundance, communication, resilience. Such pretty. She has some chakra cards, and that's the first chakra, the root chakra. New growth. Here's the 7th chakra. Action. Create. I wanted to show you some of the more shadowy ones. Resistance. Let's see if we have any others. I like stuck. Break free. Risk. There's one dark one that I love. I don't see it. It's a lot of cards. Actually, it is. Oh, here it is. Clarity. So, this is definitely a deck that I was using in the earlier part of August in client readings and having some on-point clarity and clarification. You know how sometimes in readings you just want to have that clarity of make sure what you're feeling or what you're sensing, and then you get this clarity card, and then you're like, okay, I know where I'm going. I'm on the right track here. So that's why I have this deck and why I use it and why I love it so much. The next oracle deck that I'm going to talk about is the Soulful Woman guidance cards. These this is Blue Angel, and this was independently produced, by the way. And I got it, you can get, I think she has her own website, but you also I get this on Etsy. I got this on Etsy. Soulful Woman is a Blue Angel oracle deck, and it is one that I've been using as one of my decks for my altar. I have a few altars. And so this summer, or this late part of August, I've been using it. Like, for example, here's a couple of cards that had jumped for me that was on my altar for the last week or two. This is Igniting My Joy and Appreciation. Isn't that gorgeous? So here are the backs. They're glossy, but oh well. They're still in great shape, and I've had them a long time. Shining Bright. I don't talk a lot about this deck because it is more of an altar deck. I don't usually use them in readings either for others. It's usually readings for myself, and it's usually, they go on my altar. Because they're so beautiful and bright, and the messages are just exactly what I need. It is a multi-artist created deck, so that might bother some people, and it does have text at the bottom. But there is a guidebook. I'll show you. And I actually like, in this instance, all the diversity in the different art types, and I just think it's a vibrant and gorgeous deck, and I have nothing but good things to say about it, truthfully. Like I said, I don't really mention the decks that I use just for my altars because I either forget about them or they're just mine for my own eyes. But every now and then it's kind of nice to share so you all have some inspiration and are able to go to Amazon or Barnes & Nobles or somewhere to be able to get the mass market produced decks. And I believe Soul Trees is still being published. I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, these days, during the pandemic, it's hard to even know if mass market ones are in print at the moment. So, I'll keep showing. They're so gorgeous. Here's one more. Just love it, love it, love it. So yeah, that's the Soulful Woman guidance cards. Put these up. Put those back on my altar. And then last but not least, this one's an oldie but goodie, and it's important for me to share it. And it is the White Rabbit Oracle. This is cover 1. Oh, I think cover 2 for the second edition. That's the back of the second edition. Here's the back of the first edition. So I combined them. I combined first and second. So I have a fatty. You all know how I love to have fatties. It doesn't matter to me that the backs are different. Don't really care about that. I really, really love when oracle decks are tarot size. And I really, really love these decks. It's 2 decks. One, White Rabbit Oracle 1 and 2. But in some of the cards in the first edition, like Discernment, there's a Discernment card in the second edition, but it's different artwork, and actually her guidebook also has different meanings. You know, like a different take on discernment, which I appreciate. And I keep those cards in because even if 2 discernment cards came up in a reading, you can take that and be able to expound on that, I think, from different vantage points. Maybe discernment, you know, on different situations, or discernment from an outer and inward, you know, look, you know. So I don't know. It's patience. It's so whimsical. It's so beautiful. It's accurate. I love it. And I think it's quite cool. So yes, this is a goodie, oldie but goodie, and I still use it to this day. I really do. I love shuffling it too. I still use it, and I hadn't talked about it in a while, but you guys should know it's still in the rotations, particularly for client readings. Okie dokie. Now let's move to tarot. And where do we start here? Oh, the texture. It's in this cute little wrap, so I can protect the tuck box. And I'm just going to show the backs here. I have a love-hate relationship with this deck because on one hand, I think it's just one of the most incredible decks ever. But the stock, not a fan. Not a fan at all. But I'm working with it. I think I'm not a fan because I accidentally bent a couple of my cards. And I'm being angry and not wanting to use it. But then, so this is silly. This is a beautiful deck. It's a great deck. I always have accurate readings with it. I always enjoy the imagery. I'm very much a collage fan. I love collage style artwork for my decks. Some people don't appreciate it. I actually almost seek it out, if you will. So this is a gorgeous deck. And I used it a couple times this month for client readings. This is one of the ones I accidentally bent. It just irritates my soul. You can't see it. Oh well. But I used it. Oh, this is another one. Readings for myself and for clients this month. So it was actually used quite often. And I just always feel like it's such a beautiful deck to use. And I'm trying to find one of my favorite ones in the summertime for some reason. Like, it is thick cardstock, but it's just, you know, and some people really love thick cardstock, but I personally just loathe it. So just know if you're going to get this deck, that's what you're going to get. And if it's like this cardboardy kind of stock. And it's not bad per se because, hey, it's still holding up except for the cards that I accidentally bent. But knowing what I know now, I won't shuffle it in that way. And here's the guidebook. Well, so that's the texture tarot. Next up is, oh, I didn't even pull it out. Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, the next one is the Wayhome Tarot. I really enjoy this deck. Now, here are the backs. It's on this side. Let's see. I'll show you how thick. Okay, here's the texture, right? And here is the Wayhome. This is very thick, which makes some people thrilled. The Wayhome Tarot I used also in a few client readings this month, and just really enjoyed working with it. It's this cardstock to me is a dream to riffle, shuffle, and to overhand shuffle. It's so, this is 9 of Cups. I love a modern deck. So this fits the bill for me. Father of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles, Three of Wands, Daughter of Pentacles, oh my God, the Moon, Father of Cups, the Lovers, Five of Pentacles, yes, and gorgeous Three of Swords. Here's Daughter of Cups, Nine of Wands, Six of Wands. So it's, you know, it's illustrated, but it is a little pippish, and I like that. Just a little. This is Ten of Cups, Eight of Wands, the Universe with those gorgeous Northern Lights. So yeah, I'm going to keep going. Love the Wayhome Tarot. The guidebook is actually, I have on my Nook. Let me go here. Library. Oh, actually, Home. What the Fuck is Tarot? By Bakara Whitner. So, does it take me to the main page? No, it doesn't. It takes me to where I looked the meaning up. The last, the Ten of Cups. So, love this deck. Sue flipping. Actually, look at that. Oh, what flipped? What jumped? Let's see. Oh, Daughter of Cups. So pretty. So pretty. Look. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me show you this. Look at the Three of Cups. Oh my God. So anyways, love me some Wayhome Tarot. And finally, last but not least, certainly, is this little gem. It is the Vision Quest Tarot. And I actually feel bad because this is the AGM Uranium deck, which is mass market, and you can get this deck. This is indie produced. Textured is also indie produced. I got this one, I believe, Etsy pre-order. And indie, can't remember which shop. This, you can get it anywhere. I felt bad because somebody was like, oh, this is a fully melanated deck. Why didn't you have this in your melanated video, your melanated deck video? And I was like, that's a good question. I completely forgot. But I think also I was like thinking of melanated in terms of my color, and like that was like my level of comfort. And but truth be told, this is a fully melanated deck. So there's that. But I love reading with this deck so much. It could be several months that go by and I don't use it, and then I'll pick it up and it's just like an old friend. You just fall right into a gorgeous reading with it. And I just love having it in my collection. I know when it's time to use this. I have particular reading listings in my shop, on Etsy and in my website that, and like, for example, my Awakened Spirit Vision Tarot reading, this would be one of the decks that I would use for it. So it's just gorgeous. And yes, it is a little pippish like this one, but I like that. It's one of those decks that's like illustrated, but you can, you know, it kind of fools you into thinking it's illustrated, but really it's a pip deck, and I like it. I like it. So yeah, that is the Vision Quest, and it has a guidebook as well. My guidebook is pretty banged up, falling apart. And I just keep it, because it was in tug box, I just keep it in a velvet bag. And I used it quite a few times this month as well. So when I pick my favorites of the decks that I'm showcasing, it is decks that I have used a few times in the month, so I feel like, yes, this is one that I want to talk about and let you guys know that, yes, I am really using these. These are the ones that are coming up and coming through. I don't want to bore you with my same old favorites, because then you'd be bored. But I have a lot, so there really shouldn't be me not talking about a new deck every now and then. All right, guys. Well, I think that is it. This is a super long favorites video. I guess I had a lot to say after all. I always don't think they're going to be that long, and then they turn out to be monstrously long. Sorry. Not sorry. I hope you're hanging in there. And if you've hung in there all this time, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Send you all so much love. Please take good care of yourselves. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.